All right, good evening, everyone. You're all welcome to today's Public Service HR Mentorship Series. This is the second leg in the month of October. My name is Bolabo Omoniyi Okudeyo, your regular host on the Public Service HR Mentorship Series. Today, we will be looking at this topic, reinforcing discipline and ethical conduct in the Lagos State Public Service. And I bet you today we are going to enjoy today. We'll all come together to share knowledge. And we have one of the finest and the youngest permanent secretaries in the public service in the house today, who will be here to do justice to that topic. And I want us to relax and have what we need to put in place so that we can enjoy this session, So before we delve into that today's topic, I want us to quickly look at my opening charge for today. Don't forget that this is Public Service HR Mentorship Series where we shape HR. We must shape HR, and that is why we are here this evening. Once HR is shaped very well, we will have knowledgeable strategists and HR practitioners that will be impactful on their roles. HR practitioners that will be impactful on their roles, and that's the main focus on this platform. And once that is done, we will have a well-structured and efficient public service. Well-structured and efficient public service. And that is what I am dreaming of. And that's the reason behind this platform. We don't want to continue to have, we want to have different results, and we are still doing things we will be doing. So it's not going to work. If you want different results, then you change your method, you change your the way you are doing your things. And that's why we are here this evening. That's why we are here this evening. So let me quickly introduce the permanent secretary that we have for today. My sister and my peers. My sister and my peers. Mrs. Abisola Dokumu Adegbite. Please, I want us to listen with rapt attention to this simple but powerful profile of our facilitator this evening, Mrs. Abisola Dokumu Adegbite. Is a distinguished administrator and seasoned human resource practitioner with over 25 years of exemplary service in the Lagos State Public Service. She began her civil service career in 1999 as an administrative officer 1 and currently serves as the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. She holds a BSc. She holds from Lagos State University, a master's degree in public and international affairs from the University of Lagos, and a master's in international human resource management from the Rome Business School. Mrs. Dokumu Adegbite is a fellow of several professional bodies, including the Nigerian Institute of Management, the Association for Human Resources Practitioners of Nigeria, the Institute of Strategic Management, Nigeria, and the Chartered Governance Practitioners of Nigeria. She is also an associate of Chartered Institute of Management and Leadership, Delaware, USA, and a member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. In addition to her academic and professional achievement, she has served as the president of the Set 41 of the prestigious Policy, Strategy and Leadership course at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. Guru, Mrs. Dokumu Adegbite is happily married and blessed with children. Please join me as we welcome this one of the finest minds in the service, Mrs. Adegbite, Mrs. Dokumu Adegbite. Welcome as I hand over to Olaitan to share our slides, please.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Okay, I am sharing the slides. It's such an honor to have a seasoned public sector strategist in the house. Good evening, Mama.
Hi, good evening, Olaitan.
Yes, Mama, how are you?
Thank you.
We're so honored to have you here. I'm sharing your slides shortly from the beginning. Okay, can anybody see the slides now?
Yes, we can see it
now. Okay.
Yes, visible.
Okay. Okay, you have the floor, Ma.
Very much. Good evening, the host, Mr. Neo Fudero, my friend, my brother. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Ma.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
my friend, my brother from way back. Thank you for having me. Olaitan, well done. To everybody who's on the call, I bid you a good evening. I have a very, very simple assignment this evening, which is to talk to us, about reinforcing discipline and ethical conduct in the public service. I say it's a very simple assignment because I'm sure I'm not going to be telling you anything new. I always say that. You have it. I'm just going to explain how you use what you have. I am really grateful to be here this evening, and I hope we'll enjoy us, interact, and learn. I bid every participant a good evening as I bid you good evening. I'm not sure my video is showing, but at least the slides are showing, which is just fine.
We can see
assignment, you can see me. Okay. My assignment is very simple. I already talked about the topic, and then somebody's on my slides. I wonder who that is. The content of my very simple, just about four items. I've got the introduction, where I'll go into the objectives of this, consequences of indiscipline in the public service, then we'll just go to the conclusion and recommendations. It's just 4 items, but I can tell you it's going to be very engaging. So we'll move on to the next one now and be able to, yes. So the first thing is we should ask ourselves, what is discipline? And then we know what discipline is, obviously. If I ask any one of you, I'm sure you can give me an answer. So I'm not going to be defining. But I also want to look at the second part of which is the ethical conduct. And my question is, what do you mean by ethical conduct? And it is, acting in a way that is that aligns with acceptable moral principles and values. It's as simple as that. And what are these moral principles and values? There's quite a lot of them. However, I'll restrict myself to maybe just 5, and I'll ask you to hold on to these 5 throughout your service. And I can assure you they would make a difference in your lives. The second one would be respect. The third, accountability. The fourth would be fairness. And the fifth would be integrity. Do I take that again? 5 ethical properties or conducts that you must carry with you throughout your service years, whether you have just joined the service or you still have just 1, 2, 3 years to go, or even just 6 months. Like I said before, the first one is honesty. The second is respect. The third is accountability. The fourth is fairness. And the fifth, integrity. Now, I will go, when we talk about discipline and ethical conduct, these are the bedrock of a functional, trustworthy, and efficient public service. There's absolutely nothing else to leverage on. And beautiful for us, we have a book that guides us. I hope everybody has a copy of the public service rules. I urge you, if you do not have a copy, go and get a copy of the book. It is essential. It is the Bible of every public servant. You have a copy of the public service rules, either the soft copy or, the hardcore, which we call the book. You must have. And we're charged in this book that all officers in the public sector, that's referring to PSR 040101, it shall be the duty of every officer to acquaint himself with the disciplinary rules and other regulations in force. So you must have a copy. It is your responsibility to know what is acceptable and not acceptable in the service. It is not the duty of anyone to teach you what is acceptable and not acceptable. The public service exists to deliver essential services, safeguard public resources, and uphold the rule of law. To achieve these objectives, civil servants must demonstrate three things. Exemplary conduct, because we're always being watched. We're in the public domain. We must adhere to established norms. That is the acceptable principles. We must embody the values of, it's right here, honesty, fairness, and impartiality. When discipline is compromised, it erodes trust, not only within the public service, but even from outside the public service. It diminishes service delivery quality, which is what we're supposed to do, deliver quality service. It undermines institutional legitimacy. Once that is done, we have put the authority of government to the people on the wrong note. This document explores the nexus between discipline, integrity, and public service. It provides practical insights into the consequences of indiscipline, the pivotal role of HR in discipline management, real-world case studies drawn from the Lagos State Public Service rules. This tells us exactly what we're going to be doing. So we can move on to one and explore a bit more. And then we'll be able to get a better idea of what we should be doing. All right, so can you move on, please? Is she with me?
Yes, ma, I'm with you, ma. Just 1 second, ma.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, ma.
I already spoke at the beginning about, I was going to talk about the objectives. So by the end of this session, everyone on the call understand the relationship between discipline, ethics, and integrity in building public trust. Do not forget I had said that it's not just about within the public service, but it's also about how the public from outside see us. Each person must be able to recognize the consequences of indiscipline in the state public service. Said you are to understand what is expected of you and what is not. Now, specifically to the admin and human resource cadre, I would have been able to explain the role of HR, resource, and administrative officers in promoting and managing discipline. That's one thing we shy away from, but some of us don't shy away from it. Also, provisions of the Lagos State Public Service rules in handling disciplinary cases. That is everything you need to know. Discipline is in the Public Service Rules, Chapter 4. So you must carry the book around with you, digest it, day in and out. You should be able to use case studies to strengthen practical understanding of discipline management, and we will be getting to that. So can we move again, please? Beautiful. Now, what would be the consequence in discipline in the public service? The Public Service Rules is not just there. It is for a purpose. Now, discipline, enforcing it, which is what we're saying. When you are enforcing something, it means you are strengthening it. In the public service, is for a purpose. Therefore, when you do not, when indiscipline occurs, be consequences. You know, it is this indiscipline is an act of conduct, insubordination, negligence, corruption, absenteeism, and other errors that contravene the public service regulation. Disciplinary action for indiscipline is directed not only to, I think half the slides are not showing. I might need to open on, I'm sorry. Let me quickly do this. I'm, okay. Beautiful. Okay. So basically, I'm trying to open, okay, fine. Thank you. But I was trying to, okay, I found it already too. Thank you. So basically, these sanctions are not, indiscipline is directed not only towards sanctions, but for improved performance. Its consequences are far-fetching and they affect individuals, which is the Lagos State Public Service, and the public at large. Now, you will see that I keep emphasizing that everything we do is not just about the public service. So it's about the individuals in the public service, it's about the institution of the public service itself, and then the external people, the public at large. And what happens is when we encourage indiscipline, it erodes public interest. For instance, civil servants engage in misconduct, public confidence in, sorry, that's not confident. Public confidence in government institutions decline. They lose trust in us. It declines. So we must be conscious of everything we do. It also brings disrepute to the service. You will find out that in the service, we have a few ministry departments or agencies that you will say are constantly recording acts of indiscipline. And what this does is such MD risk the reputational damage. You would always hear, oh, they're uncultured, they're uncool, they're lawless, they're this. So we must, again, wherever we find ourselves, ensure that discipline is enforced. Indiscipline encourages low staff morale. A culture of unchecked encourages diligent officers to, and it also promotes mediocrity. Because when somebody is doing something wrong and you just take your eyes off it, some people that are doing the right thing will go like, oh, what if I do the, it's going to happen anyways, so why don't I do it? It encourages decline in service delivery. Indiscipline leads to inefficiency, absolutely, delays, and reduced quality of service. I will give an example here, which is something I always say. You cannot get to work here and expect that you will deliver fully. And then a member of the public needs your services and has come to your desk at 9 a.m. and you're not there. Number one, you have delayed the person that has come. Number two, because you didn't start work on, you are either not going to finish what you should, or you rush to do it, which would have the quality of service you are rendering. Something as little as that. I always ask one question. I don't know if to say it now or say it at the end. I think I'll leave it till the end. So consequences of indiscipline, the final one, and financial liabilities. Misconduct can result in financial losses or penalties against the government. So your act could definitely, lead to some form of litigation, either financial loss or penalties. And I'm sure we do not want to do that. Can we move on to the next one? Thank you. That will be the fourth one. Okay. Okay. Now, this is my tough. And this talks about the role of admin and human resource officers in discipline management. Before we go further, I would like to charge you on one thing. Please do not shy away from enforcing discipline. Because if you do that, you are running away from what you're supposed to do, and even you become indisciplined. When you say discipline, it doesn't mean punishment at all times. And I'd said it before. Sometimes it means you are helping the person who is not doing right to be on the right path and to do the right thing. Now, considering that person or the MDA, it affects the institution of the Lagos State Public Service as a whole, and then the populace. It is important that you do not shy away from discipline. It's not a palatable aspect that people like, but it depends on how you handle it. Now, the admin and human resource function is central. It is central to promoting, enforcing, and sustaining in the public service. So it is our duty. And as admin and human resource officers, especially those in the employee relations unit of the Admin and Human Resource Department, were responsible for disciplinary proceedings. Similarly, if you look at the book, I already told you that discipline is chapter 4 in the public service rules. And if you look at rule 040105, it states that the power to dismiss and to exercise control over officers in the state public service is vested in the State Civil Service Commission or any other such body. The power may be delegated to any member of the commission or an office in the state public service. Now, our responsibility as admin and human resource officers, cuts across, I think, about 5 items here. And that is 1, policy communication. Ensuring all officers understand the code of conduct, PSR provisions, consequences of misconduct, serious misconduct, general inefficiency, prejudicial to the security of the state, and retirement in the public service. All these can be chapter 4. As admin and HR officers, we are charged with monitoring and tracking attendance of officers. I just mentioned tracking attendance of officers. Do we have registers? Do we have ministerial registers? Do we have departmental registers? We registers of attendance. Performance as it relates to SPADEF, that area that I see we compromise a lot. We just tick. I don't do that. And as a matter of principle, I learned from a mentor of mine, even as a permanent secretary now, I read through everybody's SPADEF. And that's why I like to get to know the officers that work wherever it is I work. And when I sign your SPADEF, I actually put the figure and put nature on it. I don't just sign as PAMSEC. I write what you have scored and I put my signature. And this isn't to enchant anybody. It is to understand that even at the position of PAMSEC, I have invest in all the officers that work with me. So we mustn't shy away from this. The SPADEF should reflect if officers are performing excellently well, and not shy away from issuing letters of commendation if we know they are doing well. However, if I have the rating sent to me and I have contrary opinion, even as PAMSEC, I write it there and I sign. The behavior to detect this and all these are behaviors. Monitoring and compliance of detecting early signs of indiscipline, which can quickly be checked before they escalate. It is our duty to investigate and follow due process. And here it means coordinating investigations while upholding fairness, confidentiality, and procedural justice. We shouldn't do this with personal intent. Work in line with what is acceptable, with what can be defended. And when you do this, at least I would like to charge, if I have anybody in that unit or that and human resource in the public service on the call, issue a query, or if a query is issued and an officer responds, kindly do not just leave it in the file. Ensure that it is reviewed vis-a-vis the issued query, which must have been issued in line with the template in chapter 4, page 42 of the PSR revised 1st January of 2015. Now, when this has been reviewed in line with what is in the book, it's either the officer guilty or not. If the officer is guilty, you continue with the process. If the officer is not guilty and the officer is exonerated, I beg you, ensure to document in the officer's file that such an officer is exonerated. As little as that is important in the public service, we must always close and round up matters of discipline. Please. Again, as admin and HR officers, in terms of discipline management, is one of the things is capacity building. This is it. And this is so impressive. I'm so elated. I just see that we've reached the 300 mark for civil servants. And it is impressive that people want to continue learning. And I must commend the organizers of this to continuously impact. Just as the service is training, building us, we must on our own continue to build ourselves and to train ourselves. And this is organizing ethics and integrity training, a culture of compliance in the state public service at every level, at the unit level, at the departmental level, at the ministry level, at the state level. And I know it would help change our orientation and how we do things. We also play the advisory role. Now, what do they call admin and HR? They call them support staff. But I have never agreed to be a support. Wherever I work, I'm a stakeholder. I sit down to understand the rudiments and the operations of every MDA that I have worked. I myself to just issuing leave letter, collating promotions. I understand the work. So as admin and HR officers, you are stakeholders as much as you're discipline. So you are supposed to guide management on appropriate sanctions, appeal procedures, and legal implications of every matter, so that not put government to disrepute. Yes, I like that, Fumilola Daramola. I'm a stakeholder. And please, you should be stakeholders wherever you work. You're not support staff, admin, and HR officers. We're stakeholders. What they bring to the table, I bring some more to the state. So I have something to offer. So I can't be ignored. Thank you much. I see that, Mama Muibat. So, Alisa, can we move on to the next one, please? To go quickly so that we'll be able to have some conversations. So, studies actually, and these are such that even after today, beautiful, Itunu, I see that strategic partners, beautiful, beautiful. I have 3 case studies. And the first one, absence from leave. And I actually marked it in my book because I was going to you. And I specifically would like you to look at, when you look at the PSR rule 040502, I would also like you to look at 040514. That's absence without leave. I'd like you to look at that. 040514. Along with this, the rule is simple. You cannot judge from your duty post without permission. You can't just, because it will have consequences. And it is saying here, following the due investigation, that is absenting yourself from your official without official leave or permission. Following the investigation, the officer was found guilty of serious misconduct because this happened to an officer. Based on 040501, such as traveling abroad without obtaining the permission of the head of service. This is not something that should be taken lightly. It's serious misconduct. And serious misconduct is defined as a specific act of very serious wrongdoing and improper behavior, which is inimical to the image of the service and can be investigated, and if proven, may lead to dismissal. The recommended sanction here for something like this is dismissal, as absenteeism undermines the effectiveness and reliability of public service delivery. So it is important that we understand it. So you can imagine traveling. Somebody traveled just before COVID lockdown and didn't take any permission, and then there was a lockdown. How do you explain that? I remember, I think it was in 2017, I needed to travel, but I obtained permission to travel abroad, and I had it. Unfortunately, I had an accident, and I couldn't. Once I called back that time, because it was a serious injury, the first thing she asked me was, you obtained permission to travel abroad? I said, yes, ma, you endorsed it. And that saved me a lot. So please don't take these things for granted. We'll talk about these case studies when you want to ask questions, but I'll go on to the next one. And this is misappropriation. This is in line with PSR 040502. That is 8, item 8. An office for managing public funds diverts part of the money for personal use. An audit and disciplinary panel confirmed the allegation. In line with PSR, the officer faces dismissal and prosecution for misconduct, demonstrating that corruption attracts the most severe penalties as indicated in PSR 040503. The following sanctions, which may be applied in accordance with the rules in this, it could be dismissal, it could be reduction in rank, it could be reduction in salary, withholding or deferment of increment, surcharge, reprimand, suspension, termination of appointment, compulsory suspension of increment. So if government has earmarked funds for certain things, it is important that as part, which is why I talked about integrity and accountability, it is important as public servants that we use the funds for exactly what they have been earmarked for. Because as civil servants, like I said, we must be accountable and we must show integrity at all times. The third one, and I think this is a bit common, but I don't know if the dropping it bit by bit, and this is insubordination. This is when, and if you look at this rule, yes, Takinat, accountability is very key. It's PSR 040501 again. Is the item 2026. This officer disobeys a legitimate directly from an upline, shows disrespectful and defiant behavior towards authority, reflects disregard for management's authority. The case is investigated and confirmed as insubordination, depending on severity. The sanctions range from written warning to reduction in rank to suspension and dismissal. Again, please check your PSR. These things are written there and documented. So you must understand. You can say it is one that is bureaucratic and has rules and regulations. It is also one that takes seriously the matter of hierarchy. You do not disrespect the upline. If you have contrary opinion, there's several, inform the upline or to make your opinions known. So if that is it, you would need to understand clearly how to communicate with your upline. Finally, getting towards the end of it, it's a short one. I didn't know how many minutes I had, but I wasn't going to read the PSR, like I said, because I wanted us to talk about some things after. Discipline, integrity, and ethics are the pillars upon which credible and effective public service is built. They shape organizational culture, enhance performance, foster public confidence. Somebody can't hear me again. Can you hear me?
We can still hear you, Ma. I think it's the person.
Okay, maybe it's the person.
Yes, Ma.
Enhance performance and foster public confidence. Thank you. The admin and human resource practitioners must champion discipline. I said it before. You can't run away from it. You shouldn't run away from it. You must champion discipline in the Lagos State Public Service by embedding ethical standards in recruitment, induction, supervision, and performance management. Recruitment, induction, supervision, and performance management processes. I spoke about the SPADEV. I spoke about the attendance register. I spoke about you need to know their KPIs so they know what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to be there on time to enforce any of these things. People that perform well should be commended and rewarded. Reward does not have to be financial. There's so many other ways. To strengthen discipline in the public service, the following actions are recommended. HR cadre, public servants of the Lagos State Public Service. These 4 things should be taken note of. Ensure continuous ethics and integrity training across all levels. I already said that. And again, I must commend the organizers of this because I think this is far-reaching. This is so far-reaching. I've seen some people from, I think, some general hospitals outside of here, from all over the public service on this call. Now, don't just take it by yourself, cascade. Ensure continuous ethics and integrity training at all levels. It's very important. Foster a culture of accountability and leadership by example. And I will give an example again. I signed the attendance until the morning I was appointed as secretary. Thank God I have people on this call that worked with me, still work with me. As director training of the entire Lagos State, thank you, Dorcas, very true. Fariga, yes. Director training of the entire Lagos State Public Service, I used to sign the attendance register. That's because I worked to work on time. I would read along with my staff. I worked with them. I didn't just sit down as a supervisor. So I understood what they were doing and we were in it together. And I have worked with several teams that I will work with again and again. So we must foster a culture of accountability, admin and human resource cadre. And this also applies to servants and leadership by example. We must transparent and fair disciplinary process anchored on the public service rules. That's what I said. I had mentioned it that the public service rule is your Bible. I've got 3 copies of these rules. I always carry one in my bag. I always have one at home and there's one in the office. I always carry it. Always. I like the hard copy so I can write and scribble and everything on it. Promote a transparent and fair disciplinary process anchored on the public service rules. If you are issued a query, I put it vis-a-vis the rules. Should I need to, vis-a-vis the provisions of the public service rules, and recommend in line with the public service rules. Now, there's a new one out. This is what we still work with. There's some emerging trends that are happening. Then you will still look at it along the lines of the rule, because the HR policy is now in line with empathy. You will see it in line with the rules, because I see there's a very thin line in the service now, very, very thin line between empathy and indiscipline. So we must be able to discern between empathy and indiscipline. Regular review and update of disciplinary policies to address emerging challenges. I can assure you that this is going on. The Public Service of Lagos State is blazing the trail. And I can assure you that these reviews are going on. And at this point in time, I must give a salute to the head of service, as well as the chairman, Civil Service Commission, as well as a few retired permanent and semi-permanent secretaries, as well as the permanent secretary public service office, and also some directors. There is a review going on, and it is almost so. We're in a public service that is not ignorant of the emerging trends, I can tell you. So this is being done. Ultimately, in discipline is not solely about sanctions. It's about building a driven workforce committed to excellence and accountability and the benefit of the citizenry. I repeat, ultimately, reinforcing means strengthening, building, strengthening. So ultimately, strengthening discipline is not solely about sanctions. It is not about punishment. Issuing queries is not about punishment. Issuing query is asking questions. The response to the query might give an insight to what the person didn't know, and then you give an insight. And like I said, please, if at the end of the response it is reviewed and you find out that the person is not guilty or shouldn't be punished, please direct us, admin and source in the Lagos State Public Service, ensure that it is documented. You issue the officer a query. Kindly ensure that the officer is issued a letter of exoneration and document. Don't shy away from documenting. However, if the person should be punished, then you can take the disciplinary process further in line with in chapter 4 of the public service rules. Make everything is done in line with the books, and then we will be able to deliver and build together a value-driven workforce committed to excellence. We cannot afford to trade that away. Lagos is the center of excellence. We must be accountable. We must be accountable. Once I come in, I sign time because I've come in on time. I sign, I put the time, and I do not come in the days maybe I need to go somewhere and I come in at 10, I will not sign 8:30. Integrity for me is key, and it should be key for all of us as civil servants. And this invariably will be to the benefit of the entire citizens of Lagos State. That we said. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And I thank you for listening aptly. I would give my final quote. I don't know if I should leave it now or if the questions and answers, how many minutes or how long this is supposed to go on for.
Thank you very much, Ma. You
Should I
can
leave
give
my
your
parting shot now?
You can give your parting shots. There are questions already. Or
Okay.
would you like to take the questions first before the parting
Okay,
shot?
I think we should let me take the question first.
The questions first, please.
Okay.
Okay. Doctor, do you want to appreciate first before we start the questions?
Yes. I want to say thank you so much for this insightful and you know, sometimes you see some people on this call and you be like, oh, you won't believe it though, that we have our capo on this line, on this call, and gently
Wow.
she's hiding somewhere.
Wow.
But I ensure that I fished her out. I've sorted her anyway. But I want to thank you so much for this session, Ma. You've actually opened our eyes to the fact that we should lead by example. And I thought I've been the only one monitoring attendance register, but now I know it's not only me. We should lead by example. And I've always been saying it, that you can't give what you don't have. It's not possible. Will you steal it? You can't steal it. It's what you have that you will give. Thank you so much for this session, Ma. And please, so be ready to address some of these questions now, and I'm sure we will open the floor for people to ask questions, and Olaiton will also be reading from the chat box. Thank you so much, Ma. We appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sparing us this particular evening to be on our call. Thank you, and God bless you. So please, before your parting shot, take these questions, then you give us your parting shot. We have like 96 on the YouTube, also 96. So we are saying close to 400 people that we are attending to at this particular point in time. This is impressive, and we believe strongly that by the time we are living and looking back into the service, you will know that yes, we are living vibrant and better service behind us. Thank you so much, Ma. We appreciate you.
Pleasure.
I'm sure we can't say thank you enough. Thank you very much, Ma, for being an exemplary leader. God bless you. Okay, so we have some questions here. I'm just going to read some questions. If you are here on the call and you want to ask your questions, you can also raise your hands so the floor can be yielded to you. Question 1, Ma, are you ready?
Yes, please.
Okay. Someone said, Ma, how in practical terms do we navigate through political influences that have continued to ravage the core essence of discipline in the public service?
Okay, so the honest truth, you cannot remove politics from the public service. Let's get that straight. But one of the things I always say is in this kind of issues or issues of discipline and indiscipline, how do you approach it? Have you been documenting over time? In documenting, have you been specific with documenting? I always say you want to punish somebody for being an habitual latecomer. You must have had records of how many times that person has absent, how many times you've spoken to the person, because you pick up the file each time. Discussion today with so and so, who arrived at 10:52. You'll sign and you put it. Another time. So by the time you are presenting your proposition, you are not saying, oh, she always comes late or he always comes late. Specific. In the last 1 month, he has come late to the office 20 times. Those 20 times have been after 10 a.m. or after 12. It's documented in the file. So if perchance there is any interference in that, so if for that, you have specified the times, you have reviewed along that line. If there's any interference coming, it is still in the file. There will come a day that there will be nobody to interfere. But as a matter of principle for me, I put it down the way it is. That we always say that there's political interference. But even before that, how many times do we even call the persons involved to say, look, and like I said, maybe my parting shot would address that. This is what you have been doing. How do you feel about this? That there will be no political, let's forget about it. There would be, but it depends on how you have taken the process by yourself. That even the person that wants to interfere would now say, well, this is way too. So somebody had written, documentation is key. We run away from documentation. Now, we also do not lead by example. Documentation is key. That's my response to that.
Thank you very much, Mama. Documentation is key. PS Suki also said that in her comments.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. The next question is, Ma, does it mean insubordination can lead to dismissal?
In some instances, depending on the severity of the insubordination, in some instances, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So someone also asked the question. A take home for me is writing a letter of exoneration for a vindicated officer. This one is.
Yes, please.
Okay, that's not a question. Okay, I'm going to the. Okay, so what do you mean? Bola Adewumi is asking, what do you mean? What do you do? What do you do when you are exerting discipline sorry, let me take that again. What do you do when you are exerting discipline and colleague come pleading and makes you look you are hurting the affected officer? The question wasn't well.
Welcome to the club. I'm saying. Now, okay. We've all listened to this. It is our collective responsibility. It is our collective duty. So it's either one of integrity or you are not one of integrity. So if you know something is wrong and a colleague comes pleading, please explain to the colleague the reason for this. Again, I'll go back to documentation. Because if there is proof and enough evidence that this has to be done, It's something. In the beginning, I said something. I said this is one aspect we all shy away from, that we all run away from. But honestly, a lot of us come to the back and complain about the service. So till we take charge and do what we are supposed to do, then we're going to continue to be this. When you are enforcing discipline, it is not personal. It is the matter you are addressing. And you are addressing it in line with the books. I'm emphasizing you must have your book. So you are emphasizing in line with the rules of the public service. So it's not a personal thing. I don't like you. I don't like you. You always come late. No, there's nothing like that. You always late. Like I said, this week you have come late 4 times. On Monday, you came at 11:15. On Tuesday, you came at 11:30. On Wednesday, you came at 1 p.m. On Thursday, you came at 10:20. It's only on Friday you have come early. Do you get what I'm saying? It's there. You must let them understand. And the honest truth, you cannot be coming to work at 12. And let me put in quotes, be catching latecomer. So if your colleague feels that way, it's unfortunate because you would have proof. And that's just the way it is. Some people are acceptable of certain attitude, but some people are not because the rule does not permit it. So the choice is yours. But know that whatever choice you make may mar or make the public service. So the choice is yours. I would rather do the right thing.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much, Ma.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a lot of questions on political interference, and I'm sure that the PS has answered those questions. So I am not ignoring anyone's question. So I'm just going to go. Mrs. Kemi Atilo, I see your hands up, but please let's answer some questions, then we'll come back to you. Another question I see here is, where do you draw the line between discipline and empathy?
So, like, honestly, for this topic, I don't know if PSPSO is still on the call, and I really would appreciate if it's
as if I knew you would mention her name. I've asked her to unmute herself.
Yes.
Preparing her for her input at any point in time. Now we are calling on her now. I don't know if she's that less busy. Okay, I think she has unmuted herself. So you can come on, ma.
Yes, you're done.
Capo.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Very well. Yes. Yes, good evening, everyone. And
good evening, Capo.
I must commend Bolabo and his team, as well as the PSPS for a very good job. Thank you for educating and impacting knowledge in the civil service. Now, what was that question again about political interference? Is that what you want me to discuss?
No, not that one.
No, Ma. Where do you draw the line between
empathy and indiscipline?
Yes, Ma.
Between indiscipline and what?
Empathy.
And indiscipline. Okay. So the rules are very clear on what discipline is all about. Now, you also need to be empathic to the officers. That's human relations. That's what we do as HR officers. Now, for instance, somebody lives in Mowe and he works in Alausa, and the person cannot get to work before 10 a.m. I will expect that the HR would be empathetic, because one, where the officer stays is far from the office, if there's traffic or something, or maybe somebody lives in Ekwe and has to come to Alausa, and we do have officers like that. Now, empathy is that you understand what this officer is going through. You try to encourage the officer maybe to move closer, or you try and see what you can do to help the officer, maybe get staff housing or get deployment to somewhere, close or something. Well, empathy is that you understand. Of course, you will not condone indiscipline. It's not an excuse to come late to work every day. But that officer should be, for instance, should be ready to work really late. You can say, okay, so you come in at 10, you have to work an extra hour every day to cover up your assignment. Because that shouldn't be an excuse for you to be sloppy. Then the empathy will stop. Empathy is like, I can give you, it's okay, come in at 10 a.m. in the morning. I understand what issues that you have, but you be prepared to work maybe close at 5 instead of 4, and others are going home. The officer should to appreciate that, yes, the team lead is trying to be understanding. Now, indiscipline is when the officer keeps doing the same thing over and over again, and because maybe you are afraid to call the officer or to put the officer on the right track, you condone infraction. That's a discipline. When you condone infraction without, stepping in to see, okay, how can we correct this? Because you see, when you condone infractions, what you are doing is demotivating others. Those are ready to work. Those are ready to abide by the rules. We see you as either you're making this person your favorite officer. Is it nepotism? Is it just call it whatever you like. But the thing is, what you're doing is you are demotivating others. Why should I want to do all the work when somebody else is just sitting down doing nothing? At the end of the month, everybody gets salary on the 23rd. Why should I want to put in an extra work when others are just lazing around? And then the boss will now bring all the work to my table. So the director or whoever the person, the team leading, he wants able to draw a very clear line between empathy and indiscipline or discipline. And like the PS said earlier, discipline is not seen as policy most of the time. It is correction. It is trying to correct your attitude. It's trying to put you in the right pedestal so that others that are looking at you are not emulating the wrong thing. That is what it is. It's not about most times punishment. It's not about punishment. It's about correct. That's why when you are prison, they don't call it prison again. They call it correctional center. You are trying to remold behavior, be in conformity with what is acceptable by the service, the rules, the society. I hope I don't want to talk too much because I'm not the moderator. Thank you. I'm not the presenter.
Thank you, Kapo. Thank you very much. I like the example Kapo used.
You, Ma.
I like the example she used, and I'll correlate that. So if an officer stays far away, first, there must be a conversation around it. You don't assume because you stay far away, you can just come anytime. You need to explain to your upline. Upline should understand. So I like the example she gave that if you come at 10, then you don't close you close maybe at 5, an extra hour, or maybe 6. But you find officers coming at 10, 11, but want to go, let me use Ekpe. So they don't come with the staff bus in the morning, but want to close with the staff bus at 3:30. So in enforcing something like that and saying, no, what I do, you don't come with the staff bus in the morning, you can't go with the staff bus in the evening. In the morning, you need to put extra time in. That is, like she said, if you do things like that as with the staff bus, you are condoning indiscipline. This will disillusion other officers. So it's an understanding. So that's where it is important to analyze things holistically as well as within the ambit of the provisions of the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's also another question. Please, Ma, how many times should an officer appear before a PMB for the same offense? Example, I am an officer being absent from different from a different MDA.
I don't understand. What do you mean from a different MDA?
Okay, okay, let me read the questions again. Please, Ma, how many times should an officer appear before a PMB for the same offense? No verdict, no conclusion, no dragging, no reopening for years, but the officer has consistently been absent from office.
This is, I don't understand. So
No,
has
let me
the
tell you.
officer returned, or the officer has not returned to work, or the officer just takes time off and then doesn't come, then moves to
I think-
another MDA and does the same thing?
Yes. Yes,
So that's what I'm
exactly.
saying. In the first MDA where it happened, what was the conclusion? The conclusion would have been documented in such a way that the officer's parent ministry would be aware. So even if another MDA and such happens, and the disciplinary process in quote is followed, again the officer's parent ministry will be aware. The first MDA might not be aware that it's happening in the second MDA. The second MDA might not be aware that it has happened in the first MDA. But the officer's parent will be aware. Again, documentation. I can't sing this louder than this. Documentation. So by the time it gets to the MDA, that means nothing was done in the first MDA. The guy or lady just moved to another one, and then a third one. That means we're not concluding on any of the processes. Documentation. That's the answer.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. Okay, so Mrs. Kemi Atlo, can you unmute yourself to ask your question? I just unmuted you. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good evening, my peers. Good evening, colleagues. My question is on unwritten rules. Now, ma, how do we enforce discipline in the area of dress code? Now that, sometimes you feel, oh, I just want to change my hairstyle. I just want to be myself. I just want to do this. And especially with our young officers, you have them coming with tinted hair, and it is not particularly stated in the circular on dress code that you can't tint your hair. Please, ma, I know the PS, Public Service Office is here too. Can you please shed more insight to dress code, to discipline in dressing? My second question, ma, is how do we go about an officer that you have shown empathy with and you have spoken with, you have advised that, oh, you live in Ogun, Ijede or whatever, why don't you get a deployment to somewhere closer to you? But you see that this officer is not ready to accept this. And he or she is a perpetual latecomer or even absent without leave. I do agree with you, my PS, that documentation is key. However, there are some instances that when you begin to do this, you are seen as over-sabi officer. And especially when it's somebody who also have political influence and they are not ready to, engage with you and understand that working from a closer area is beneficial to them than they not coming to work and allowing other officers to see them. Thank you very much, ma. Those are my two questions, ma. How do you relate with that? And you have the officer space, you have the job, being left out. It's obvious that the officer is not at work. Thank you, ma.
Until we get off the call, please, nobody should bring any question on the absenteeism again. We have the rules guiding that. It's in the. You say, I keep saying documentation because that is it. When you have a conversation with the officer, did you document on so and so date? What do you call it? Like the file note. I had a conversation with this officer on this. The officer has been advised to do this. Like Kapo said, why don't you encourage the officer to get a space closer if it's something you can do about staff housing or something, if it is nothing you can do, you need to let that officer understand the implication of his or her inaction and actions. So we go on and on about political interference. I think even as admin and HR practitioners, we hide under this because we do not want to do the things we should do. That's my thought. And this is not just directed at Akitilo's question. It's directed at a lot of us because we don't want to do the things. I said I would write. First, did you even inform the officer in writing? It has been observed over time that after several conversations with you, you might mention the specific date. You have consistently been coming to the office late, especially on this, and this day. Kindly explain why disciplinary action should be taken against, or would you like to state what other options are available? But all we do is call them and talk. Then the officer sees it as personal. If the person stays in Nigeria or something, you can't come late, you can't come early. But if the person comes late, then the person can close early. On the days when the person is not coming to work, he or she must send a message or notify you. You document. Please, there's a lot of traffic, I can't come today. Write it in the file. If rain fell, he entered my house. Write it in. That is it. So when you are doing anything later, you are not guessing. You are specific dates and time. And that is authenticity. For the second one, there's the extant rules. There's a on dress code. And I think it was again reissued this year. So these kind of avenues, there has to be, you see, for me, for people that think they're here, you can say, well, it is explicitly. But what I've told an officer before is, this is your cadre. Now you work in a place where you relate with members of the public directly. And they come in to your office. And this particular officer, I think, had braids of 7 colors. I said, how would they respect you? How? Do you understand? So what kind of impression? If you're in the entertainment industry, it is fine. But you're a public servant. That is a serious, I'm not saying those are not serious-minded. Please don't quote me or don't get me wrong. I'm saying it is acceptable in their domain because of the work they do. But as a public servant, if I work in colors of hair, my expression will change immediately. So how do you, they say dress the, I'm seeing a few clips here too. An officer that, a male officer, what happened at the point of recruitment? Did the officer not have dreadlocks at the point of recruitment? Or was it after the officer joined service? I've seen something here too. A pierced his nose. Did he pierce his nose before joining the service? Well, he cannot work in the office. I have officers, male officers that pierce their ear. Can't wait at work. And I saw in Matthew Party later, he had his earring on to a certain level because it still doesn't speak well of the service. But you can't. So we must, especially the young ones coming in, honestly, sometimes they explain to them the implications of this. And we mustn't get tired of it. But like I said, Kapo is here. I say now, I don't know, I think it's at the federal level or one state. I'm not sure. No dreads for male, no something. Because if you talk about double nose piercing, if the person has pierced it, you can't block it. You can only say you can't wear it during office hours. So there's several things, and continuously, we will continue to engage. Have platforms like this that bring things to the fore. I've listened to this now. I'm taking it back. And like, I can't emphasize more. I'm glad Kapo is here. So we listen to these things. We listen to, I think going forward from these, your series, excuse me, when certain questions come up, they're important that you need to take note of and forward appropriately. So some of these questions can be addressed just here. There are things that need the approval of the head of service or from the public service office to enforce service-wide. So we don't throw things like this away. I've been lucky with the people that I work with. When I say, look, why are you now twisting this here? It doesn't look right. Somebody comes in, they listen. So again, maybe it's the way we talk to them. They understand, they listen. The one that won't listen, like I said, the girl with the 7 colors of hair, I said, and she wanted something. I said, you can't come to my office with 7 colors of hair. You can't. So we will take this back. I will take it back. Kapo has said, and we'll work on it. All right, thank you. Yeah.
So, all right, so take Mrs. Igbola, please. Take
yes,
take
yes,
Kapo,
yes,
please.
yes, ma. I've unmuted her. I just want her to speak. Okay, ma.
Okay, thank you very much, Liza. And PS, thank you very much. I appreciate what you have said. I just want to chip in that I just want to chip in that every job has its own culture. As much as I love this Gen Z thing, I will not expect a Gen Z admin or anybody, a public servant, come to work in shredded jeans, for instance, and say because it's a Gen Z world or the dress code is not clear enough. I don't expect to see a male officer pierce his ear or nose and then come to work with it. Like the PS said, it is not, you're not working in the entertainment industry. You will not see a military man with dreads. I'm yet to see one, Gen Z or otherwise. So the culture of your work should determine your dress code. When you get back home, you can do Gen Z dresses. So, okay, so you come to work on a Monday in shredded jeans or what is it called, torn jeans or whatever. And then we have to go to a meeting at governor's office where the governor will be present. How do you think you'll be addressed? So you must dress the way you dressed. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this, and I also expect, you know, the J&A Charles or the upline to try to at least, you know, talk to these officers. I've seen somebody come to pick up a set of appointment. I mean, come to PSO to register for HR Oracle, a new officer. And she came, like, you think she's coming from Balogun Market. And I said, excuse me, what can I help you? She said, yes, she's here to register. I said, for what? That you go back home, you go and change and come back. So as far as I am concerned, you have not assumed duty today. You can assume next week, there's seniority in the service. The day you assume duty determines your seniority. So the J&A Council should not be afraid of enforcing the rules. And I keep hearing this thing about political interference and whatever. Why are you afraid to enforce the rule? So somebody comes to you and says, it's from Mr. Lagbaja or Honorable Tamedu. And the person keeps, you know, having this infraction. Documentation in the first instance. You've spoken to the person, you've tried to counsel, you've tried to mentor, you've tried to coach, and then the officer is still doing the wrong thing. And you apply the rules. And then by the time the Honorable Lagbaja or Tamedu is coming, you show them what you have documented. Nobody wants anybody to spoil their name now. Like university, so you get to the job, please do the job and do it appropriately. So the dress code is there. All this coming to here to the office with 7 colors of hair, I don't understand it. Even if you are working in tourism, is that how we dress? How African is that? So we need to mellow down this Gen Z thing. And before you know, somebody you will tell me is affecting their mental wellness. I don't understand. So please let us try to enforce the rules. The rules are there for us to enforce. Do not enforce it without empathy, but enforce the rule. Be seen to be seen, doing the right thing. Be seen to bark and bite. And you keep barking and you don't bite, then everybody sees you as Please let us make the service what it should be. You cannot come to work dressed anyhow because you never know. I tell my officers, be a Boy Scout. And who is a Boy Scout? The Boy Scout motto is be prepared. You cannot come to work and I say, oh, we are going to State House and you are running elter-skelter because you are afraid. Me, I'm here to see a soldier that has all these things, and they have Gen Z too in the military now. So that's the culture of the work that you do. Determine, I don't expect to see an engineer come to work in the morning dressed in suit because if probably going to site. So you can imagine if you go to a hospital to see a doctor, and doctor comes in and she has this big ribbon on in 7 colors. Will you be confident of that doctor attending to you? Would you seriously? So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kapo.
Thank you.
So you keep asking some, and I'm finding it ridiculous. That's the truth, unfortunately. Is tattoo acceptable? You answer that yourself. And I just said something. Somebody that has pierced the nose before joining the service, can you block the nose? Can you block the hole? Somebody that has a tattoo, is it a visible one or not a visible one that will be covered by what he's wearing? If it's a visible one, it must have been visible during recruitment. What did they do? So when you say it is not acceptable, how do you tell the person to take the tattoo off? Because I don't know where the tattoo is. A tattoo will not be on somebody's forehead or the neck, and they would recruit. There are certain questions that we must look at and not just ask. If a tattoo on her lap, the dress would always cover it. If perchance you see it one day, maybe out of the office, then that. If the person has it on the arm, I'm sure. And that's why we're told not to wear sleeveless. So if the person is not wearing sleeveless, you can't see it. I hope that answers the question about the tattoo, except the tattoo is on the forehead where it cannot be covered. Because I keep seeing questions about the tattoo as well. All right, thank you very much. Okay, I think Kapo wants to speak again.
Yes.
Kapo wants to say something like that.
Okay, Ma, you have the floor.
I'm sorry if I seem to be interrupting, but just for a question. If a public servant is allowed to violate the code of conduct after office hours, you are a 24-hour public servant.
Public servants.
You are a 24-hour public servant. And in the public service rule, there's this rule that there's this infraction that if you cannot place anything that person has done, it is called acts on becoming of a public servant.
Public servants.
That's why it's there. So I don't expect a public servant to engage, for instance, in domestic violence because there's a rule, there's a law of the state that is against it. You cannot be slapping your wife and say because you carry the yam to her father's house, you can slap her head in hand. You are a public servant. The law of the government that you work for that's against it. So you should be seen to uphold rules, policies, laws, wherever you are at any time and anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Kapo.
Very much, Ma. Thank you very much, Ma. Okay, so for further questions on the dress code, we just dropped the circular, the HOS circular from, okay, Suki still wants to say something. Okay. Ma, you can unmute yourself, Ma. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, I think that was a mistake. So the circular has been dropped on our platform. You can go back to read the circular. Ma, just one final question from YouTube. I just discovered that we did not take questions from YouTube. Just one question. Should directors sign the attendance?
Who is asking?
So Olowu Idowu. The person is on YouTube at the moment.
I signed. It was a matter of accountability and integrity for me. If as a director you want to sign, you can. If as an upline you're asking me if your director should sign, I will not answer that question. If as a director you want to sign, I think you should sign. I signed, I remember, like I said, till the morning of the date I was appointed permanent secretary. And that for me was leading by example and for accountability. So if I now say you're late, know that I'm not just witch hunting. So if it was a downline asking that question, I'm sorry, I will not answer that. If it was a director that was signed, I have given that asked the question rather, I have given my reasons for signing. So it's up to you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
So
Okay.
PS Suki is saying directed from the rule, lead by example, which is what I said. I chose to lead by example. Show the way, walk the talk. That's director. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, mamas.
Most welcome.
Okay, doctor.
Hello.
Yes, you have the floor. Thank you very much, ma.
Jare sister, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Capo, thank you so much, ma. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I've been saying it. I will continue to say it. We are going to witness a better service, and we are going to leave it in a good shaped format. By the time we are leaving, we will look back to say, yes, this is what God has helped us to do. And we'll be proud to come back to see, the service we are leaving behind. Thank you so much, ma. I so much appreciate you so much for all that you have done. Maybe we should take your parting shot now before I will unmute everybody. Before I will unmute everybody to say thank you as we normally do on this series. Thank you so much, ma. Your parting shot now.
So my parting shot is actually very simple, and it is this: do the job. I will personalize it now. The way I do the job, the way I do my job as a civil servant, as a public servant, if everyone else does it the way I do it, what would the service be like? That's it. So if I choose to always come late and I get to work 10:30 every day, and every other person comes to work at 10:30, will the office be open? So that's my question and parting shot to you. You need to go and answer that question by yourself. The way I do my job, the way I behave, the way I work, if every other person exactly the same way I do it, what will the service be like? So if I would answer that question, if the way I have been doing my job is the way every other person does it, we'll have a fantastic public service. So ask yourself that. And then finally, I would like you to go and read up something in terms of discipline. And it's a theory. I intentionally didn't want to discuss it. It is called the red hot stove theory. Red hot stove theory, and be able to apply it on all matters of discipline. Thank you very much for having me. Capo, my respects any day, anytime. Thank you very much. Mr. Niyo Kudero, I appreciate you for having me. Olaiton, you've done well. Everyone who's been at the call, I hope I've been able to meet your expectations. Thank you for sticking on and staying on 1 hour, 30 minutes after. It shows me that the public service is actually ready for this change. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mama.
So I've unmuted everybody. Please Let's
Thank
take
you very
our
much. I
let's
really
take
appreciate
our
you.
normal song. For she's a jolly good fellow.
For she's a jolly good fellow.
Sing it out, sing it out.
She's a jolly good
And
fellow,
so
all of us.
So
Say
say
all
all
of
of
us,
us.
say all of us. He's a jolly good fellow. He's a jolly good fellow. He's a
Come
jolly
on.
good
Finest
fellow.
palm steps. Thank you.
All of us. Hey!
Thank you,
Thank
Thank you so much,
you
ma'am.
so much, Mama, for honoring us.
We love you.
Thank you,
Mwah,
Ma.
mwah,
Thank you very
mwah.
much, Ma.
Thank you.
Love you. Thank you, ma.
Thank you, ma. We appreciate.
God bless you. Kapo, thank
Kí ló kọ
you.
sábà sí fàlẹ́?
Thank you. Thank you.
Mi ò jáde ṣe báwo ló ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀?
We appreciate you. Thank you for coming on board.
It's still very
Thank you
big
for
thing.
coming on the call.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you, my PS. Thank you, my sister.
Amari
Oh, thank you
Peo.
for supporting us. Thank you for always showing up. Thank you,
Eshigoma.
Capo. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Capo. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my PS. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Dr. Golabo, good night too.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Thank
thanks so
you.
much for yesterday.
Doctor. Good day.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, my brother.
Máa ń dé lómi ní kí ló ń dé fún fún?
Thanks so much. Do have a pleasant night, sir.
And you too, my brother. Nice night.
Yeah, that's nice.
Good night. Thank you.